Hey guys, HappyCattyCrypto here, and welcome back to the channel. So we've got a few different things to go through on the Lunar Classic side of things. I'm actually quite excited to see all of these different things kind of popping up, although there's certain things that sometimes I don't agree with, and sometimes I think, this isn't probably like the best spending of time and resources. Ultimately, it's all pushing us in one direction, which is forward, and I think that's a very important point moving forward. I'm getting to a point where I don't even want to argue with people anymore. I'm kind of like at this point where if someone goes 1 + 1 is 5, I'm like, you know what, dude, that's right. That's right. In the sense of recent content and stuff like that, because obviously I do a video, and depending on how somebody takes that video, some people can get very, very upset based on what I say. What I want to kind of point out here before I go any further is I don't think this in itself is a bad idea. I don't think that the chain doesn't need this. What I was saying, what my point is with this is I don't think the community pool should pay for it. And I think if somebody would like to pursue something like this, they should do it on their own accord kind of thing, and then maybe ask for a payment afterwards kind of thing. There's just so many people out there, right? And so many systems that have been built off of people's own back, own power, own steam, and own funding, and it's kind of like a big kick in the nuts, so to speak, but it's very interesting. So let's move over to the Genuine Labs situation, and this is a really interesting situation because finally we are at the next SDK update. And really, if you were to look at this from a holder's perspective, like our perspective, there's not a great deal in here, so to speak, off the bat that you can just look at and go, this is very bullish. This is definitely going to send prices upwards. But what this does is begin to open up a lot more doors to us. It makes us far more interoperable, so to speak. If you were to kind of boil this thing down and put it to cookie to crunch kind of thing, it's definitely a situation where we're progressing. And as time goes on, hopefully you start to see more wholesome kind of updates. So I think the next targeted job for Genuine Labs, and some people might be able to correct me if I'm wrong here because the lines of communication are broken. It's something that I was going to touch on during this video, but I think they're going to be working on the paid per job system itself, and then we'll be showing you what Frag's working on as well. And I think this all ties in together quite neatly, so to speak. So this SDK upgrade is up. It's up for voting. There is a few discrepancies. So there was something that I've noticed and other people have noticed is that it's advisable for everybody to create swap files that are 128 gigabytes before the upgrade, because more or less if you're running, for example, like 32 gig or less, you're going to have issues, so to speak. So this in itself could be a much bigger and longer upgrade. There's a lot more to do in it, and it could take a lot more time. There's a lot more computing and RAM power that goes in to this upgrade. So that's definitely a point to take note of. Does that mean we need to panic? Does that mean we need to worry? Absolutely not. Everything seems to go fine. We've got a lot of good people on deck that kind of pitch in at times when things go south, so to speak, and other people always pitch in as well. So these are all good points to kind of take away from this. So something I've noticed, and other people have noticed, but I know that they just don't want to speak up and kind of remove themselves from that neutral position. But it's a situation where the communication's not great. So validators require that information that I just mentioned about needing that 128 gigabyte swap file creating before the upgrade. That wasn't something that was communicated openly, so to speak. And this is kind of the thing at the moment. From what I understand, it's only Vegas and Diamond Hands at the moment, I think, that have got good communication with Genuine Labs. Everybody else is cut off, and that includes certain developers that will go unnamed, so to speak. But let's keep moving this forward, because like I said, this all pushes us in a forward direction, and it's all really good. So like I was saying, this SDK upgrade in itself opens up a lot more doors, but it's pushing us towards better goals. And I think, and I'll need to speak to Frag about this and kind of dissect this a little bit more with him, but from my point of view right now, it seems Frag's preparing the systems, the anti-handler, the split parameters, all of these different things that he's mentioning here to be in coordination with what Genuine Labs, I think, are going to be doing next, which is going on and attacking that paid per job system. And I've always been a fan of the paid per job system. It just always became a situation where I think a lot of people just thought it was a rule we could employ that rule itself, which we did, which is a very peculiar situation. But ultimately, there needs to be a system in place. And if you can get that correct system in place, especially now with TFL being in a situation where labor market, payments down, treasury down, the whole kind of foundation system's probably going to start to collapse, and you're not going to see all of these really interesting, expansive tools that they spoke about at Cosmos first. And then once again, this leaves a substantial gap in the market for our L1 chain. And I think it's really important for any L1 chain to understand that if you're a layer 1 chain, you're going to have a lot of layer 2s built off of you. And if you allow more or less more L2s to come in, privatize and profit off of the gaps that you're leaving and generating in the market, then you can't expect much to come to the layer 1, so to speak. And Igor mentioned something really important, which is L2s wouldn't be able to exist if the L1 doesn't exist. So therefore, we should really all try to build layer 1 stuff, so to speak, and try not to focus too much on layer 2s. And I really do agree with what he's saying there. So obviously, here we have Frag saying about implementing the proposal 12098, all to do with paid per job, and Frag's asking a very small, minuscule amount. He's actually rounded this down as well. So I think this is definitely worthwhile. I think it's definitely worth pursuing. I'm definitely going to vote yes for it, as the same with the SDK upgrade as well. Hopefully, the communication gets better as time goes on. So this proposal in itself, what I want to do is speak to Frag, dissect this properly and see how this all ties in together. I'm just trying to get you guys kind of like weekend bulk update out so you guys can go about your business, so to speak. Let's move over to, because we're going to have to do another video about this as well, but the Genuine Labs proposal for the upgrade is up. A lot of people are strong yes on this. I'm definitely a yes on this. It's good to see everything, like I was saying, moving forward, and then the external media influencers are starting to report on these different things as well. So once again, good traction, good limelight. Although internally we know it's not bringing a huge deal right now, it could bring a huge deal in the future for our blockchain. And honestly, the price in itself has been very interesting. So we've been going through one of those flat zones where we trade sideways for a bit, and we're starting to see those nice kind of different head and shoulders patterns popping up. The Dragonfly dojis, which we've tracked 3 times now on the channel, and all 3 times we've seen around a 200 to 400% breakout afterwards. So these are all the kind of key signs I'm going to be looking for. Like I was saying, the increase of the burn tax, I definitely want to speak about this in an independent video, so we'll get that out hopefully later on today. If not, it will be on Monday. But like I was saying, there's a lot of people who are starting to report on this externally, the external media influence. And as you can see, they're all talking about different drivers that are going to possibly make us jump 13x, which could happen. 13x is not out of our reach. We could go 20, we could go 30x at this point. It's a situation where all of the catalysts have got to land right. And I think like loads of these different kind of little catalysts are starting to push themselves forward. So I think it's really important we pay attention to these different things. We take a look at these different things and we discuss all of these different things that are going on. So I'll leave links to the different things that we've covered here. I'll get another video prepped to talk about Frag's proposal, the pay per job proposal that ties into Genuine Labs. We'll get that in one video, and then we'll talk about this burn tax situation as well, because it is an interesting topic, and I think a lot of people don't understand it's not as simple as just changing it anymore, because obviously we've got what I would call private interest, and they actually have investments in this chain. So every time we tweak that, we're not just thinking about ourselves, our own blockchain, we're thinking about how this affects everything across board, from projects to CXs to CEXs that are burning to projects that are specifically burning. So it's all stuff to take in. But other than that, guys, I hope you've had a nice weekend. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.